New iPads are here in the studio, and while I have this right here, this one is the iPad Air 6th generation 13 inches model. Cyrus has done a separate video on the iPad Pro M4, so if you are interested in that one, you can check it out on the channel. But for now, let's unbox the iPad Air 6th generation in 13 inches, take a closer look, and boy, has it got some big upgrades, and I say this quite literally. Because just look at the box here, guys. This one is big. Anyway, hello everyone, I'm here for Fiiber by India Today, and now let's get started. Alrighty, this is the blue shade of the iPad Air in 512GB. We have the Wi-Fi plus cellular variant. And just like the last generation model, other colors on offer are space gray, purple and starlight. The pink seems to be discontinued. So first up, we get the new and huge iPad Air in 13 inches. Let's take it out of the paper, and don't you think the blue shade looks gorgeous? Other than this, there's some documents. Underneath, there's a 20-watt Type-C charging adapter along with a Type-C to Type-C braided cable. Nice touch. Apple has also sent us the Smart Folio case in blue, or like Apple is calling this shade, denim. Typical folio case from Apple. And of course, there's the new Apple Pencil Pro in the house as well. And just like the costlier iPad Pro models, the iPad Air also comes with Pencil Pro support. And yeah, that's about it for the unboxing, guys. And if you would ask me for my first impressions, well, this one, as I just said, looking at the box, now having the iPad in my hands, I think this one is quite huge. 13-inch looks awesome, and of course this blue shade, this one looks quite subdued. So if you have an older generation iPad Air with you and you're watching this video, let me know which blue would you prefer, the older one or this new one. Let me know in the comments. By the way, if you want us to make a full review of the iPad Air, then definitely consider hitting that red subscribe button and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. Alright, let's start with the physical overview of the iPad Air 13 inches, and I'll tell you what's changed here. Quite frankly, only the 13-inch size, because the new 11-inch model has the same dimensions and look. But apart from this, the front camera, which is still a 12 megapixel unit, is now placed in a landscape position, which of course makes perfect sense. However, the two biggest changes on the iPad Air this time around is the M2 chip under the hood, which is up from the M1 chip in the last generation model, and the base storage is now 128GB up from 64GB on the last generation model. So these two changes alone make a lot of sense for getting not just the 13-inch iPad Air but also the 11-inch model if you have been eyeing to get one. So coming back to the M2 chip inside the iPad Air, here are some benchmark numbers for you on the screens, and despite being an old chipset, the numbers are solid and it is not even funny. I mean, if the benchmark numbers of the iPad Air M2 are so good, I can only imagine what would the numbers be on the iPad Pro M4. Those would be crazy. Now coming to the front, this right here is a liquid retina LED display, and going by the official specs, seems like it's the same display from the old model. Nonetheless, true to Apple's claims, it is still one of the most impressive and color accurate IPS displays that Apple devices are known for. Strangely, this 13-inch iPad Air gets a bump in brightness to 600 nits, while the 11-inch model still has 500 nits brightness. That said, color accuracy and brightness aside, I would have loved if it were a 120Hz ProMotion panel, and I know that is reserved for the Pro iPads. But 70,000 rupees for a new iPad is still quite a lot of money, and I think the 120Hz refresh rate on the display should have made the cut for this model. Alright, what else has changed here? So the rear camera, well, it seems to be the same 12 megapixel snapper, but again with the M2 chip at the helm, one can expect superior ISP. Apart from this, connectivity wise, there's a Bluetooth 5.3 along with Wi-Fi 6E under the hood, which are significant upgrades, like up from Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0 on the last generation models. I also noticed the nano SIM slot is nowhere to be found, so the only option if you decide to get the cellular version of the iPad Air is eSIM. Finally, when it comes to the accessory support, as I told you earlier, the iPad Air M2 supports the latest Apple Pencil Pro, but not the new Magic Keyboard. So old Magic Keyboard support here. And summing up my thoughts, I'm not sure about how I really feel about the new iPad Air M2. I mean, the M2 chip under the hood is great, but unless and until you're not pushing this machine to the limits, I mean, for general tasks or even hardcore gaming, the performance will likely be the same as a last generation's M1 model. But where I do feel the new iPad Air makes sense to buy is that the last gen iPad Air is currently selling for about 55,000 rupees on Flipkart. That is for the 64GB Wi-Fi version. And if you are planning to get the new iPad Air, it would make a lot of sense, because for 5,000 rupees more, at about 60,000 rupees, you get the more future-proof M2 chip under the hood, along with double the base storage at 128GB. And yes, for those who have always wanted a bigger iPad but couldn't afford the 13-inch iPad Pro, well, now you have the iPad Air in 13 inches. Which is still quite expensive at 70,000 rupees, but still relatively affordable if you compare it to the 13-inch iPad Pro models. Rest assured, again, I would give you a disclaimer that this is not a full review. So if you want us to put the iPad Air through its paces, definitely let us know in the comments. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will catch you all in the next one. Till then, take care of yourself and thank you for watching.